Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And look at this. Ghostbusters Afterlife is beating expectations. Just a couple of days ago, the media was like, this movie's not going to do very good. Nobody's really feeling it. Nobody wants another Ghostbusters. It's just going to do so-so.
But you know what? No one wanted another Ghostbusters before they made the 2016 one. That was the biggest complaint.
Yeah, well, speaking of complaints, Ghostbusters Afterlife is resonating with fans. 95% audience score, right? Despite the media's attempts to tank it, but now we're gonna go back to this well, and we're gonna blame Donald Trump and Milo Yiannopoulos.
Are you serious?
For Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yeah, we'll talk about. We'll talk about. Yeah,
Oh my God.
This person is actually that deranged, thinking that Donald Trump had something to do with Ghostbusters.
I hope it's parody, because I'm
Afterlife.
like, this doesn't make any sense otherwise.
It isn't. I wished it was. I read through it.
But it is a parody.
No.
Oh my God.
No.
You're gonna have a fun time with this one.
No.
Get your popcorn, everyone.
I was hoping it was, but it isn't. So we're gonna talk about that. But before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 241,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. Greatly appreciated. We did go see Ghostbusters Afterlife Thursday night.
Yep.
It was very good.
Yep.
In fact, we might go see it again at the Dollar Theater, I
Well,
think.
my mom got in the car with me today. We had to go somewhere, and she said, I listened to your show about Ghostbusters, because they were with us. And she's like, I agree with you on all your points. And she goes, I even agree with you on the point that it was probably the second best Ghostbusters movie after the first one.
Yeah.
She goes, it was better than the second one. It was definitely better in 2016. And she said to a lot of the points, I completely agreed.
Yeah, it was good. And I think the reason the projections were low is it kind of reminds me, and we talked about this before, it reminds me of Batman Begins, where people didn't flock to the theater to go see Batman Begins at first because they were still feeling pretty butthurt from Batman and Robin. So they're like, you proved to me that this is a decent Batman movie, and we'll come see it. And then Batman Begins long term actually wound up doing very well. And then when The Dark Knight came out, it just exploded. Well,
here's what gets me too. It's like kind of like Sonic. You know, people weren't going to see Sonic, but then the media was doing everything they could. They were trying to compare it to, Birds of Prey and all this other stuff, which made no sense whatsoever because they were just ass mad that people were going to go see Sonic and not the movies they wanted to show for. And when people were going to go see the other films, they started like, tearing it apart. It's, it's terrible. These weird posts were appearing like, I left the theater and took my child to go see Birds of Prey, and it's like, or Harley Quinn or something. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, right. You're gonna take your kid to go see the R-rated Harley Quinn movie, sure,
right?
Sure.
It's the media. The media, they really need to crack down on the media lying all the damn time because it's getting really old, and now people have no one they can believe because is it true or not? Because half the time it turns out it's not. So
they were calling for, and I gotta admit, I was kind of worried how this one was going to do. We said even in the review, I'm like, I'm not sure how it's going to do because I think a lot of people are over Ghostbusters. I think 2016 did a lot of long-term damage.
It was going to be, like the critics kept saying, oh, it was the same movie all over again. Yeah. We were concerned about that, but actually 2016 follows more closely to the first movie than this one does.
Yeah, it's almost a beat for beat parody.
Right, parody,
of the original movie, but it did beat expectations. 16.5 million Friday.
Not great, not huge, but better than they expected.
Not Marvel. I mean, this was not.
No,
these are not Marvel numbers. But they're expecting over 40 million opening weekend. It might actually do better than that. I've seen some other articles that said they think it's going to be closer to 45, 46, which is what 2016 made. Now,
but 2016 fell off a cliff not long after.
Yeah, so what's going to be really interesting to see with this one, a lot of people are thinking if the buzz is good, if the word of mouth is good, it's going to play out like Jumanji, where Jumanji only opened, it wasn't great opening weekend, but long term it actually wound up making a lot of money and it warranted a sequel. And I think people are just very apprehensive about anything with Ghostbusters on it because of 2016.
Right. And I'm sorry that the media doesn't like to hear that, but that's the truth.
Yeah, so according to Deadline, It is beating expectations. Whether or not the sequel goes higher hinges on more families coming out today. They think over Thanksgiving it might actually do really well.
Because word of mouth. And I got to tell you, I don't know how many people that were on Twitter that when you said it was good on Twitter, they were like, oh, thank God I'm going to go now. Because a lot of people weren't going to go until they heard if it was good or not, because they didn't want to, they didn't want to be burned again. They didn't want to give their money to a studio that doesn't listen. And when they found out it was good and people were like, this is really, really good. And then there's like, okay, we went to see it because you said it was good, but be it us or somebody else. And I think the word of mouth is what's going to propel it forward, because you don't see much advertising for it.
No, and I think a lot of people forgot it existed because it has been delayed like a year, and people were really excited when the trailer dropped. But yeah, I mean the toys kind of came and went. They're still out, but they're selling. Actually, they seem to be selling.
Actually, the ones that are you can't find are the kids.
Yeah,
you can find like the classic Ghostbusters with the ghost, but you can't find the kids figures.
Yeah, so. This is interesting because this is coming from Deadline.
Yes.
And it's interesting that there does not seem to be a lot of bad blood between Jason Reitman and Paul Feig. Now, I have a theory because there were some emails that were turned up like 4 years ago where Sony was actually talking about how they wanted to build a Ghostbusters franchise. Yes. And they were talking about bringing Chris Pratt in to, I have a theory that since they're all into this multiverse thing that they might bring the 2016 team back as like a crossover or something. They did in the comic books. And I think that he's making sure that he's in there just in case.
Well, it's still, I mean, even if that's not the case, I mean, I will completely give him credit for this because, he could have been like a complete asshat about it and he wasn't.
Yeah.
So, I think that was nice.
So far, the only person involved with the Feig, I guess at first was kind of about it, but I think it was Leslie Jones was very vocal about it. But even some of the other comments, Melissa McCarthy, it wasn't she wasn't overtly negative about Afterlife. She was just like, I don't understand all the hate, and people took it to be like she's throwing shade at Afterlife and.
Well, a lot of the hate for a lot of these things can be tied to the fact that Hollywood keeps thinking they can just take things that are established properties, change everything about them, shove agendas and all kinds of stuff in it, and then expect people to show up. And when they don't show up, then the narrative becomes from the media that people are horrible people. And I think that Hollywood and the media need to knock that shit off because all they're doing is making people, angry. And a lot of the hate, I think, comes from, when you have the media telling you you're a bad person because you don't like a movie, you're gonna get a little pissed. That's why we do what we do, because I got tired of the bullying. But I'm going to read what they said. Fig said, huge congrats to Jason Reitman and the whole Ghostbusters Afterlife cast and crew on this amazing opening weekend. The film is brilliant. It really is good. It's well thought out.
Yeah, it is.
So exciting to have a whole new generation busted. Here's to many more ecto adventures. # we're all Ghostbusters. And then Jason Reitman is like, your class act, a great friend and a brilliant director. My heart is filled with gratitude for, and it says him, the brilliant, was that ATC? Was that, Answer the Call.
Answer the Call.
Cast and crew. Thank you for expanding the Ghostbusters universe and giving me the courage to attempt a Ghostbusters movie. So it doesn't seem like there's, going to be hatred here, but the media is going to do everything they damn well can to cause as much strife and bullshit as possible. And right away, they're going to start with you're a shitty person if you didn't like 2016.
Yes, the right-wing clowns bullied the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie into existence.
This is what makes me mad. Hey, Laura, here's a couple, I'm hoping this is parody, but here's a couple, fact checks for you. Actually, there are a lot of people who didn't go see Ghostbusters 2016 globally. They are not all Democrats or Republicans. They are not all Republicans who didn't like it. They aren't even all men or white men who didn't like that movie that you like. And you know what? You can like it. It's completely cool. Go ahead and like Ghostbusters 2016. No one's telling you can't. But there are a shit ton of people like you telling everybody they have to love it and they aren't allowed to not like it. That's the problem.
The media created so many of the problems with that movie, and they actually, I think, did a huge disservice to the people.
You can say that about pretty much anything.
The people working on the movie because it became a rallying point at because they were like, well, if you don't like the Ghostbusters 2016, you're a misogynist. Can't possibly be, because most people are like, why the hell would you reboot Ghostbusters?
I was there. That was the number one thing people said. I was right there when the whole thing went down.
Plus the trailer, and it is still to this day one of, if not the most downvoted trailer on YouTube. But it was deceptive because they kind of framed it like it was a sequel to Ghostbusters when it wasn't a sequel to the original Ghostbusters.
A remake parody of the original. And, you know, once again, the media. Media is responsible for all this shit. If the Hollywood wants to blame somebody on the backlash, blame the media. And they're still trying to keep it going. Like, meanwhile, the two directors are like, you know, okay, cool. You know, we're working it out. And then here comes the media. Because don't you know, if you didn't like it, it's because you're a horrible person. And I'm so damn tired of it. And so is everybody else. Newsflash, no one's listening to your narrative anymore.
God, we got to read it.
How bad is it? Oh my God.
It's not very long. It's just
really
ridiculous.
It looks long.
It's not very long.
You sure it's not a parody?
It's not a parody.
Oh God.
That's not a parody.
Oh, honey.
When Jason Reitman first announced Ghostbusters Afterlife, the Oscar nominee, son of director Ivan Reitman, promised his iteration would hand the movie back to the fans. Unfortunately, it seems the film being handed back is a little lackluster.
Well, it's not, because we went to see it. You're just pissed that people didn't like the one you liked. And that's what this whole thing is about. It's just like Rise of Skywalker all over again.
Reitman's description of the project in 2019 raised eyebrows given the sexist backlash that had kneecapped Paul Feig's female-led Ghostbusters. I don't know.
Sexist? You mean all the women? There's a whole shit ton of female fans. Who did not like 2016.
Yeah.
So it's sexist in what way?
Because they said so.
I mean, of course there were some people that, I mean, I'm not going to say there wasn't some people that took it too far. And I think they do mention that. You said in here about the racism.
Yeah.
But what happens is, we saw it with Kelly Marie Tran, is you get a few people being assholes. And because a few people took it too far, then they paint everyone with that same brush for their narrative. Meanwhile, they're doing the exact same damn thing. They're going and review bombing it, doing all kinds of shit on it, calling it all kinds of names or whatever. But it's okay when they do it. Go ahead.
Oh my God. It said it didn't stop the twerpiest corners of fandom from ruthlessly disparaging the film, its cast, its creators before the release.
The cast wasn't good for that film. I'm sorry.
It was a
Bridesmaids.
Yeah. Leslie Jones received the vilest comments. That I will agree with.
Yes, and that was not okay. And I agree with that. Never should have happened. I think you'll find most people think that never should have happened. But what happened is you have a handful of people acting badly, and then everyone gets blamed because look, they're all horrible people because these 5 people harassed her.
Alt-right trolls compounded so-called fans' horror at the idea of women leading the franchise for even one movie.
Hold on. Got boobs. Didn't like it.
That was not the issue most people had. It was a reboot, remake.
It was badly done.
Yeah, it was a piss-poor remake of a classic
humor.
film.
It wasn't even funny. And you know what? Here's the thing. Oh, that's right. You're darn right. Yeah, they just hate female-led movies. They just hate it. These fans hate it. That's why they're all going to see this one, which is led by a girl. A little girl, by the way. Well, I forget, she's older now. But led by a girl. And her mom's the main character, and the one other girl,
Lucky?
I forget what her name was. She was the main character. There were 3 female characters that were like main characters in this, and had big points in this movie. And actually, I don't think any of them, they outshined each other. Like, they all kind of worked together. But it was female led, so you're full of shit.
She's also neurodivergent and under 18, so you can't criticize this movie
That's right.
at all.
Ask Twitter. That's the rule, so you can't say anything.
You can't criticize her at all.
But I'm like, they don't like female-led films, but this is a female-led film.
The controversy surrounding the film, along with the middling reviews and producers' failure to secure a Chinese release.
Wait.
That's China.
There's like because it's ghosts.
It's ghosts.
They don't do that in China.
They don't do ghosts.
But you know what? I love this. But you know what? You know what else? They didn't get Chinese release for a bunch of other things like Eternals.
So that's why it didn't do well at the box office. Given the film's bloated budget, the box office tally was a disappointment.
What box office tally? They haven't even finished it. I mean, 2016.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so they're mad because they couldn't get a Chinese release for Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah.
They weren't going to because it was ghosts.
And they were worried about, there being a sequel. Then came Reitman. He announced his own Ghostbusters in 2019 and promised it would be set in the universe of the original. At the time, he said, "I've always thought of myself as the first Ghostbusters fan."
He probably was.
Yeah, I was 6 years old visiting the set. I wanted to make a movie for all the other fans. Regarding Feig's version, Reitman added, I have so much respect for what Paul created with those brilliant actresses. He never threw it under the bus.
No, he never did, but you know.
Would love to see more stories from them. However, this new movie will follow the trajectory of the original film. Weeks later, during a podcast, Reitman accidentally made his point a little more explicit. His film, he said, would go back to original technique and hand the movie back to the fans.
Right. What's the problem there? It does go back to like original technique, and it does get back to the fans. I'm sorry if you don't like that. 2016, I don't even know what that was.
Here we go. The implication that Feig's Ghostbusters had not been for the fans felt like a dog whistle.
Oh my God.
Especially after months of sustained misogynistic hostility. Leslie Jones encapsulated the apparent message best, like, fuck us.
Well, you know what? I guess, like, fuck them. Because the movie wasn't that good. It had nothing to do with the actors. They were the ones who wrote the material. I mean, mostly. It wasn't very good. I'm sorry.
Reitman's promise to return the franchise back to fans validated the notion that Feig's film, which included numerous callbacks and cameos, was made for someone else.
It wasn't good.
Perhaps even worse, it played into Donald Trump's incessant whining about female-led reboots.
When was Donald Trump whining about female-led reboots?
Yeah, I think
I don't even pay attention to what Donald Trump said.
I think he made like one comment, like he was like, "Oh, and the Ghostbusters are all women now. Why?"
Okay,
or something like that.
As a woman, I'm allowed to have an opinion. Am I allowed to have, what's this woman's name? Am I allowed to have an opinion there?
Lauren?
Laura? Am I allowed to have an opinion there, Laura? Because I'm a woman. And I didn't like this. And I'm not a misogynist. And you're going about Donald Trump's, female reboots. I'm kind of offended by how lazy Hollywood has been, that all they keep doing is taking franchises that already exist, slapping women in there as a lead, changing a bunch of stuff, making sure the whole way through the thing is it's very obvious that it's agenda driven, because I'm a woman, shit in this. And then it doesn't, then you tell the audience this is not for you, so they don't come. And then journalists like Laura here turn around and go and raise shit because people didn't go see the movie and then blamed it on misogyny. It's like, you're not even giving us your best. You're giving us, like, the women, you're giving them these shitty leads that are like on established properties where you're ruining them, and then you're ruining these actresses. You're not even giving them their own thing. And then when you do have something like Alita that had a strong female character that was up against Captain Marvel, which was kind of its own thing, it was a strong female character, instead of being like, look, we have a win, people like this went and tried to pit them against each other. Yeah. To cause drama and shit when you had two female leads.
And honestly, Alita was played by a Latina actress.
Right. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of hearing this female-led reboots bullshit narrative, because a lot of the ones that are failing is because they just stick a woman in it, then they have to push agenda, they tell men that they don't want them there, and then when no one shows up, because women don't like them either, but don't you know it's only men who go to the theater. According to people like Laura, talk about misogyny, right? Am I right?
Oh my God, this is
internalized misogyny.
If somebody had written a parody of what one of these outlets would say about this movie and the whole cultural war and all of this stuff, it would be this article. Basically, it's like, it's enjoying the benefit of a troll-free release. I wonder why.
No, it's not. You're writing an article. It's not a trophy release. The critics were deliberately trolling it and going on about it because they were mad that it undid 2016.
Yeah.
Troll-free release my ass. The media has been trolling this. Okay, so let me get this right. When fans are upset, they're trolls. When the media is upset and they do everything they can to dog something, that's not trolling. That's just because they're them and it's okay.
God. Yeah, here, this guy, Sean P. Means. The 2016 version, those fans declared, ruined their childhoods, but Ghostbusters Afterlife does something worse. It traps those fans within their arrested childhoods, giving them everything they want and nothing they don't expect.
Sean wants laid.
Anyway, so then she proceeds to bring up the hateful online fan campaigns against Kelly Marie Tran.
Oh my God, she didn't!
Captain Marvel, Black Panther.
I didn't even know. Okay, the Kelly Marie Tran thing, once again, it was a handful of people, and people like Laura here blamed everyone. Now you have to understand, these movies are released globally. So they did shit globally, right? It's not just here in America where you're going to try to blame it on Trumpy people, right? Globally.
It bombed in China and Japan too. Yeah, so there must be a lot of Asian hate.
Apparently.
Over there.
I'm just like, so the Last Jedi thing, yeah, the Kelly Marie Tran, they keep going back to that. Yes, a handful of people supposedly harassed Kelly Marie Tran. They harassed Leslie Jones. That is not indicative of the majority of people who didn't like The Last Jedi or Ghostbusters 2016. So just stop that bullshit. That'd be like me saying, because, you made this article, you don't like neurodivergent children leading films, and you don't like Asian kids.
Oh.
I guess that's what that means, right? Because you're out there trolling this film, so clearly that means these things. Obviously it doesn't. But I'm just like...
And don't forget the black girl.
Oh yeah, you hate black girls too.
You hate black girls
I'm like,
too.
obviously it doesn't mean that that's what it means. But by the way that the rules seem to play, that's how this goes. So every time anybody harasses anybody about Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's because they hate a certain group of people. Obviously, we're going to paint everyone with a broad brush because one person's going to mock somebody. So it's all their fault.
In many ways, the 2016 dust-up feels the most ridiculous. While most franchises court reverence and emphasize their cultural importance, one would think that Ghostbusters' devout irreverence would preclude audiences from developing such a preciousness toward it. Then again, are these conflicts ever about the actual fans?
What the actual... Wait, let me get this straight. So the actual fans are you? And okay, so basically you're just saying... that you can't that fans only mean the ones that like what you like. The 2016. Those are the real fans. Frankly, they're not.
This is, I really have to wonder. Look, the Daily Beast has been harping on this for years. 2017.
Here's the thing. You know what? I'm just tired of it about the fans. It's like, you know what? If you like a certain movie, you're allowed to like it. But if someone's a fan of Ghostbusters 2016, they're still a Ghostbusters fan. It's just of 2016. If people are a fan of the original Ghostbusters, of Ghostbusters 2, of Ghostbusters Afterlife, they're still technically a fan. There's not you can be a fan of like Star Wars, not like every movie. You can be a fan of a band and not like every record or song. I'm like, and some people might like other songs than you, and they're both still fans. This whole idea that either you have to agree with me or you're not a real fan is a load of shit.
So I would agree that 2016 was the most ridiculous situation because that was actually, I think, the beginning of what we call the culture war. Mm-hmm. I think this is when the media and the studios sided with the media and they turned on fans. And I think it started a couple years before with video games. But this is when we started attacking fans of everything, Star Wars and Ghostbusters and Doctor Who and Star Trek and
well, that's when we started seeing them switching just for no reason whatsoever. Suddenly it's a female lead. Yeah. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with female leads. The problem is when you're taking things that are existed for years, we're going to do Indiana Jones and James Bond too. Things that have existed for years is one way, and you're just changing it for no other reason than identity politics. I'm like, meanwhile, there have been many, many movies with female leads. And you guys just step over them all the time because you want to have this narrative. You want to sit there and be like, I'm being oppressed and all this other shit. They're not. You're allowed to like Ghostbusters 2016. Other women are allowed to like Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm just tired of this divisive bullshit. It's doing well, so hurry, light a fire and blame it on Trump. I'm like, what the literal hell?
I can't even what. He's gone, right? Like he's
in their
not
mind
in office anymore.
Clearly,
right?
What's the in their mind? What's the worst thing you could be? I'm a Trump supporter. So that means that anybody who doesn't like what I like has to be every istophobe they can insert in there. Oh, and they're right Yahtzee Republican. Because in their mind, you have to be the worst person ever if you didn't like what I liked.
I think somebody needs to take the keys away from these journos.
I agree.
For sure. If you want to save these websites, but so many of these websites...
Hollywood wants to save their own ass.
Yeah, just stop. Just because the thing is, these people will turn on you the first chance they get. And we've seen it time and time again that they turn on them. I mean, look what happened with Joker. Look what happened with all these other... they will turn on you because they're always looking to be outraged. They're always looking to be angry about something. There's nothing you can do that's good enough. And what was good enough last year isn't going to be good enough next year. Mm-hmm. And, at some point, Hollywood, if you want to make money, you're going to have to be like, yeah, you know what? We're shutting you off.
Right. And the thing is, if people don't want to go see a movie, they don't have to go see a movie. No. If they don't want to see Afterlife, they don't have to see Afterlife. If they didn't want to see 2016, they didn't have to see 2016.
Well, that's the difference. The difference was if you said, and it was Angry Video Game Nerd, some people told me, that he just said, just kind of casually, like, yeah, I have no interest in watching 2016 because I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I don't see why it needs to be remade.
Right.
I'm not going to review it.
This is what most people said.
And he wasn't like rabid about it or anything. But he was just like, I'm not going to review it because I don't want to see it. And he got dragged in the media so hard. Like, look at this man baby refusing to watch the movie. It's like, so that's the difference. The difference is, you know, we'll tell you, like, if you don't want to support something, then don't support it. You don't have to. Nobody's making you support anything. The media, though, will tell you, you have to like this. You have to go see this movie. If you don't like this movie... Oh, no, they're telling
you can't go not to see this one because if you see this one, then you're a horrible person that didn't like 2016. You can't make someone like the movie. And the fastest way to turn people off of it is by acting like this. Militant assholes.
Yep. So, time to take the keys away. And I hope Afterlife does very well. Not just because, you know, we liked it, but I hope that, you know, people go see it and maybe Sony gets a clue and they're like, yeah, you know what? People want more of this.
Right. And they stop doing more. And you know what? And again, I don't want to hear one fucking minute, sorry, Mom, of this being, well, you don't like women. Because you know what? It was led by a woman. It was a girl and there was two other women that were strong characters. Everybody was kind of on equal footing. It was done really, 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 really well. And it was done in a way that it was for everyone. Not just for people with boobs.
Yep.
Or men who want to get laid because if they're male feminists, they're going to get something. This is for everyone. It's actually strong female lead. So if you're going to keep pushing that totally bullshit narrative, you know what? You look like a fucking idiot. Sorry for swearing because you look like an idiot.
We're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.